Alright guys, we're in Unit 7, Day 2, so this should be Tuesday's work. Okay, so the do now, you can just scratch that. But let's get started with today's lesson. Okay, so now we're going to be making a probability model and use a histogram. So you guys remember, what is a histogram? Histogram is just like a bar graph, but what's the difference between a histogram and a bar graph? Thank you guys. 10 seconds to think about it. Alright, so those of you said a histogram is a bar graph that doesn't have any space in between, you are correct, right? Histograms are continuous and bar graphs, there's a little separation, so it's not continuous, okay? So if we take a look at this one, right? So what is a probability model? So we technically did this before, so this is just like a review lesson, but let's just cover it. So right now we're gonna be taking the sums of two dice, right? We're finding the probabilities of the sum of two dice. Okay. So first thing we need to know is probability of big X is equal to little x. Okay. This was from yesterday's lesson, right? I didn't go over this yesterday because I was hoping, this is yesterday's lesson, you guys would read this on your own. Okay? So if we remember, if you read that on your own, you would know that this right here is the random variable. Okay, that's the random variable. Okay? And this right here is the, the outcome you want. Okay, so that's the random variable, and this is the outcome that you want. So right here, first of all, we have probability of big X is equal to little x, right? There you go. So what is the first sum that we can get? Can we get a sum that equals to 1 when you were trying to roll two dice? No, right? The sum of two dice, the lowest possible one, would start at 2. Okay, and then so forth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Now, the top should not be the p. The top is just the x variable, right? So here's all your x variable. On bottom, that is our p. Okay. When p is equal to our certain probability that we're looking for. So what is the probability of getting a sum of 2? Well, first off, what is the total on all the dices? All the possible outcomes? There are 36 possible outcomes. Okay, there's 36 possible outcomes. So we know that the denominator, the bottom part, is all going to be out of 36 on all of them. Okay, now what's the probability of getting the sum of 2? What are the chances from all of these, if we add up these two numbers, that the sum will equal 2? So there is a total of 1 possible outcome. So the probability of x equaling to 2 would be 1 out of 36. Okay. Now let's do the next one. What's the probability of x equaling to 3? So how many different chances are there to roll two dices and for the two dice to add up to 3? So you look at all the possible outcomes. Let's see if we can find 3. Here's 1, 2, 3, right? So that's 1. And then right here, this 2, right? Is there any more? No. So what's the probability of x equaling to 3? There is 2 possible outcomes. Let's do one more. Okay. How about what's the probability of x equaling to 4? So if the sum of two dice equaling to 4. So look at your graph, right? Here's 4, here's a 4, here's a 4, right? So how many possible outcomes do we have? We have 3 possible outcomes. Okay? Good. Pretty good. How about the next one? We know the bottom is going to be out of 36, right? Because all of them have a total of 36 possible outcomes. So now, what's the possibility of x, right? X is the sum of 2 dice, so the sum of 2 dice equaling to 5. So count all the possible outcomes of 5. Well, 4 and a 1, that's 1. 3 and a 2, that's 2. A 2 and a 3, that's 3. And a 1 and a 4, that's 4. Right? So there's a total of 4 possible outcomes. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys, you know, like a minute so you guys can finish the rest. I'm here at Starbucks. Everyone's looking at me just in case you guys wanted to know the things I do for you. Starbucks. Here's my drink. But anyway, sorry for distracting. Alright. Just so I can have enough memory for all the videos, so let's continue, right? 6 possible outcomes. It's a 5 out of 36. Probability of the sum of 2 dice equaling to 7 would be 6 out of 36 chance. Probability of the sum of 2 dice equaling to 8 would be, well, 8. It should be a 5 out of 36 chance, right? So 8 would be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? And then now the numbers are going to start decreasing, right? 4 out of 36, 3 out of 36, 2 out of 36, and 1 out of 36, right? The 12, the only possible chance is running a 6 and a 6. Now we can get that probability. Okay? So, again, guys, the sum of 2 dice, that is our big X, okay? That is what this big X stands for, right? And then these little X's is what we're trying to get. So when the big X, the sum of 2 dice is equaling to, let's just say 5, or sum of 2 dice is equaling to 5, the probability will be 4 out of 36. Okay, now we're going to build a histogram. Okay, so let's start with the bottom, right? The bottom is our big X. Okay, so here, let's start off with 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so these are all our possible X values, right? These are all our possible X values, random variables. Okay, now right here, this is our probability. Probability of X equaling to a certain value of X, right? So remember, all of these, they're all out of 36. Okay, so if we can see here, the smallest one is 1 out of 36. Biggest one is 6 out of 36, right? And it starts decreasing. So let's put that in our chart. So probability is being 0. Sorry, I can't see. So that's 0. Our biggest one is 6 out of 36, and then we can go from there, right? In the middle would be 3 out of 36, right? So 4, 5. So we need 2 of them. 4 out of 36, 5 out of 36, and same thing right here, right? 1 out of 36 and 2 out of 36. Sorry guys, I forget I'm recording myself. So sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 out of 36. Remember guys, these are the probabilities. Okay? Now, what's the probability of the sum of two dices, that's our big X, equaling to 1? Or the sum equaling to 1? Is there any possibility? No. So this should be 0. Okay. Now, what's the probability of the sum equaling to 2? Right, when big X is equal to 2, that's going to be 1 out of 36. So right here is going to be the first one, 1 out of 36. And then what's the probability of big X equaling to 3 would be 2 out of 36, which is the next little bar. Okay? And so forth, right? What's the probability of landing on a 4? It's 3 out of 36, so that's our next mark. Remember guys, do your line straight like mine. Okay? Straight as straight can be. The probability of getting a 5 would be 4 out of 36, so that's our next little mark. 4 out of 36. Now, guys, the more straight your line is, the better it will look. I kind of went crooked a little bit. I know, it's hard to believe, but sorry. And the probability of landing on a 6 would be 5 out of 36. So next little mark. And then probability of landing a 7, which is the biggest one, is 6 out of 36. And then you can start to see it's going to start coming down. Okay, so I'm going to, oh sorry. I'm going to let you guys continue on the rest. Possibility of 11 is 2 out of 36, so 2 out of 36, and then 12 would be right here. Okay, technically we're supposed to have a 13. Perfect. So this is your histogram, guys. This is your histogram. Remember, guys, you read the histogram going from left to right. Okay, so probability of landing on a 2 would be right here. Probability of landing on a 7 would be this one right here, right? So 7 and 7 to 8, all that would be considered 7. And that was 6 out of 36, as we saw on top. Okay? Let you guys read that a little bit. Okay, so that's a probability. Okay. Damn, now that I look at it, this is all crooked. But I'm sorry. Alright, let's take a look at the back. So I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds so you can read this. Alright guys, so let's take a look at this. So X represents what? The amount the company pays. So X represents the amount a company pays. So what are the 3 possibilities that the company could pay? Well, if you read up here, it pays $10,000 when you die. So that's $10,000 when you die, or $5,000 when you are permanently disabled. Oh man. So that's $5,000. And what is our last one? What is our last possibility that the company could pay out? Well, hopefully all of us will be in this probability, but the answer is 0, right? If everything's healthy, like they don't need to pay you anything, right? So that one's 0. Now the bottom is the probability of the random variable X, the amount of companies, right? So probability that the amount of company pays is 10,000. So what's the probability of that? Well, suppose that the death rate in any year is 1 out of 1,000 people. That right there, guys, that's a probability of the 10,000. So it's going to be 1 out of 1,000. Okay. So if we can assume, what's the probability of the company pays out 5,000? Well, they had another 2 out of 1,000 suffer from any kind of disability. So the probability of the company paying out 5,000 for disabilities would be 2 out of 1,000. Okay. So what is our last probability? Think about it. So as we can think, the probabilities would be a complement, right? So if these two take up 3 out of 1,000, what should this one be? What is the leftover complement of this probability? Well, we know it's going to be out of 1,000. Okay, but how many do we have left over? 997. Okay, good. So hopefully most of us land right here. I don't want any of us to be disabled. Okay, but let's look at the next question. What can you expect to be the most likely value to occur? Okay, so what is the most likely probability that all of us will land on? What's the highest probability? The highest probability would be this one right here, right? 997 over 1,000. It's almost nearly 100%, right? So what is the most likely value to occur? The answer would be 0. What is the least likely? What is the least likely value to occur? Would be which one? 10,000. Perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys do the next 3 on your own. Again, hopefully you guys are behaving. This was day 2 to the lesson. Okay. So do the next 3 questions on your own. Thanks, guys.